Oleh Yaroslavovych Tyahnybok is a Ukrainian politician who is a former member of the Verkhovna Rada and the leader of the nationalist far-right, Svoboda political party. Previously he was elected councilman of the Lviv Oblast Council for the second session. Biography. Tyahnybok was born in the city of Lviv to a family of doctors and is a doctor himself. His father, Yaroslav Tyahnybok, a merited doctor of Ukraine, was a distinguished sports doctor, chief physician of the Soviet national boxing team, and a former boxer himself who achieved the title of the Master of Sports of the USSR. Oleh's great-grandfather was a brother of Lenin Sahelsky, a politician in the West Ukrainian People's Republic. Tyahnybok states he remembers from when he was younger searches conducted by the agents of the KGB in his family's apartment. After secondary school, Tyahnybok enrolled into the Lviv Medical Institute and received part-time medical jobs as a corpsman and nurse. But after the second year was drafted to the army. After returning to the institute, he initiated the creation of the Med Institute Student Brotherhood, the first step in his life as a civil activist. Tyahnybok graduated from the institute in 1993 as a qualified surgeon. In 1994, 25-year-old Tyahnybok was elected to the Lviv Oblast Council, and in 1998 he was elected to the Verkhovna Rada. Political career. In October 1991, Tyahnybok became a member of the Social National Party of Ukraine. He is characterized as representative of Ukraine's far right. From 1994 until 1998, Tyahnybok served as a member of the Lviv Regional Council. In 1998, Tyahnybok was first elected to the Ukrainian parliament as a member of Social National Party of Ukraine. In the parliament he became a member of the People's Movement of Ukraine faction. In 2002, Tyahnybok was re-elected to the Ukrainian parliament as a member of Viktor Yushchenko's Our Ukraine bloc. In parliament he submitted 36 motions for debate, but the parliament adopted only 4 of them. In the majority of his motions, he opposed the introduction of the Russian language as the second official state language, proposed recognition of the fighting role of the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists and Ukrainian Insurgent Army during World War II, called for the lustration of former communist officials, security service officers and undercover agents, and demanded the prohibition of communist ideology. None of these motions were adopted. On the 20th of July 2004, Tyahnybok was expelled from the Our Ukraine parliamentary faction after he made a speech in the Carpathian Mountains at the gravesite of a commander of the Ukrainian insurgent army. In the speech, which was aired on television in the summer of 2004, he made comments such as, that the Moscow Jewish mafia ruling Ukraine fears most, and they were not afraid and we should not be afraid. They took their automatic guns on the necks and went into the woods, and fought against the Muscovites, Germans, Jews and others who wanted to take away our Ukrainian state. Quote. In his defense, Tyahnybok said he had not offended Russians in calling them an occupying force, as this was based on historical fact. He also denied that he was anti-Semitic, saying he was rather pro-Ukrainian. The prosecutor's office initially filed criminal charges for inciting ethnic hatred, but later withdrew for lack of evidence. Since that time, Tyahnybok has won 9 court cases in that regard. By the decisions of courts it was recognized that the criminal case was raised unlawfully, and the actions of TV channel Inter that showed the footage passage of Tyahnybok's speech as well as the head of the Dbenbenn Moscow were recognized as ones that insult the honor and dignity of Oleh Tyahnybok and caused him moral damage. The actions around that issue led to creation of the program in defense of Ukrainians. Tyahnybok stated in 2012, "This speech is relevant even today, and all I said then, I can also repeat now." Since February 2004, Tyahnybok has headed the All-Ukrainian Union Freedom. In April 2005, Tyahnybok co-signed an open letter to President Yushchenko calling for a parliamentary investigation into the criminal activities of organized Jewry in Ukraine. Tyahnybok stood as a candidate for the post of mayor of Kiev during the Kiev local election in 2008. In the elections, Leonid Chernovetsky was re-elected with 37.7% of the vote, while Tyahnybok received 1.37% of the vote. Tyahnybok was a candidate for president of Ukraine in the 2010 presidential election for the All-Ukrainian Union Freedom Party. He received 352,282 votes, or 1.43% of the total. He received most of his votes in the Halych oblasts, Lviv Oblast, Ternopil Oblast and Ivano-Frankivsk Oblast, and his vote share in this region amounted to 5% of the total ballots cast. In the second round, Tyahnybok did not endorse a candidate. He did present a list of some 20 demands that second-round candidate Yulia Tymoshenko had to fulfill first before gaining his endorsement, which included publicizing alleged secret deals Tymoshenko had with Vladimir Putin and ridding herself of what he called Ukraine haters in her close circles. During the 2010 Ukrainian local elections, Tyahnybok's party won between 20 and 30% of the votes in eastern Galicia, where it became one of the main forces in local government. During the 2012 Ukrainian parliamentary election, Tyahnybok was re-elected to the Ukrainian parliament when his party won 38 seats. Tyahnybok was elected leader of the party's parliamentary faction. In June 2013, Tyahnybok and another Svoboda party leader were barred from entering the U.S. for their open anti-Semitism, according to the Kiev-based newspaper Severnya. In March 2014, Russia launched a criminal case against Tyahnybok and some members of Ukrainian National Assembly, Ukrainian National Self-Defense, for organizing an armed gang that had allegedly fought against the Russian 76th Guards Air Assault Division in the First Chechen War. In the 2014 Ukrainian presidential election, he received 1.16% of the vote. In the October 2014 parliamentary election, Tyahnybok was again first on the election list of his party, since the party came 0.29% short to overcome the 5% threshold to win seats on the nationwide list. He was not re-elected into parliament. Political positions. Tyahnybok regards Russia as Ukraine's biggest threat. He has accused the Medvedev presidency of waging virtual war on Ukraine along many fronts, in the information sphere and the diplomatic sector, within the energy trade and throughout the world of international PR spin. He is pro-NATO and critical of the European Union, but supports a Europe of free nations. According to polls, both stances put him at odds with the majority of Ukrainians. Tyahnybok also wants to deprive Crimea of its autonomous status and Sevastopol of its special status. Tyahnybok wants to introduce an ethnicity section into Ukrainian passports, start a visa regime with Russia, and require Ukrainians to pass a Ukrainian language test to work in the civil service. Tyahnybok wants to re-establish Ukraine as a nuclear power. He believes this would stop the Russian virtual war on Ukraine. Tyahnybok wants Ukrainian to be the official state language of Ukraine, but also believes there should be no discrimination against linguistic minorities, cultural and political image. During a visit by Tyahnybok to Sevastopol on 6 January 2010, some 1,500 activists of parties and public movements picketed the Business and Culture Center where Tyahnybok had a meeting with voters. Tyahnybok was voted Person of the Year for 2012 by readers of the country's leading news magazine, Correspondent. Tyahnybok was ranked number 43 in the 2012 list of top 100 most influential Ukrainians by Correspondent.